Hey, it's your girl Joy, and I'm gonna keep wearing this shirt because I look cute in it, okay? I am Joy Ofodu. I am the Creative Executive Officer of Joy Ofodu LLC. It is an influential and inclusive entertainment company. I really believe in the healing power of humor, and now I get to spread that to the next 15 million people online because I left my job at Instagram/Meta, where I worked full-time as an integrated marketing manager. It's very scary, but very exciting. I have a series for you that we are engaging in right now. It answers a lot of questions, and one of the most popular questions that I get is how to balance full-time work with your creativity, right? So I'm a comedian, I'm a content video creator, I'm a voice actor, I do IP writing, and people are like, how do you balance this when you have 40 hours a week being poured into Meta/Instagram? Well, obviously, I enjoyed the balance for some time, which is why I stayed at the company for so long, but now it's time for me to be fully independent. I want to kind of reach back and speak to those people who might be in this place, right? If you're in a place where you are working full-time at your job, it might have something directly related to do with the company, or it might be completely unrelated to your role at the company. I want to give you some tools and some tips for how you can balance that and let you know how I balanced it. I am very transparent about this because I have nothing to hide. My dream for the world is that everybody gets to be deeply involved in the things that they're passionate about and that they love. So there's no gatekeeping on this end. There's nothing I want to keep from you. Any resource, any company, any tool that you want to know about, please feel free to comment below, okay? So hit like and subscribe, and let's get into how to balance full-time work and creativity. Okay, the first thing that you need to do is get good with comms at your job. There's gonna be a communications or a PR department whereby they manage all stories about the company or about the organization, and often it's employees. If this comms organization or the people that work there don't know you or don't feel good about you, then you speaking externally on the company's behalf or on the brand or organization's behalf is not gonna go well. I promise you it's not. Don't try to be a lonely, lonely operator. Don't be a shark. Don't step out on your company and start speaking on their behalf. They will shut you down, right? So if you don't own it, don't talk about it. And that's why it's really important, if you are a full-time creative or part-time creative and you're also working full-time, you want to talk about the company, what you do, or even the stuff you do outside the company. Make sure you separate those lanes, okay? So for me, there was Joy Ofodu, the integrated marketing manager at Instagram. Then there's Joy Ofodu, creative executive officer of Joy Ofodu LLC. I have full reign and control of how I speak about, appear, do panels, videos, give back, whatever, for Joy Ofodu LLC, that the company cannot influence or touch because it doesn't relate to the scope of my role. Does that make sense? So Instagram can't tell me how to talk about Joy Ofodu, but they can tell me that I can't use Instagram company name, right? The Instagram company brand to sell Joy Ofodu. Okay, I have to make this super clear. If you're working full-time for a company, usually they have a rule that you can't use their name, you can't use their logos, you can't use your employment at the company to financially benefit your individual brand or company. If it indirectly happens outside of your control because people draw a correlation, oh, she works there, well then maybe she'd be good at consulting. That is up to that person. But you cannot be the person applying that company's name, their logos, their identity to your individual excursions. Does this make sense? I hope this is tracking. So keep those two swim lanes really clear. Next is to get good with your company policy. You should be an expert on company policy. If you're often externally speaking, either on behalf of your company or externally, sometimes there's rules and regulations, especially at Meta, about whether or not you can accept money, whether or not you can accept travel or food from other companies for speaking. Just get really clear about what those topics are, how long you need to be an employee before you can even start speaking. These are things that the company is going to be pretty strict about. And if they don't have a strict policy, that is not permission for you to run crazy. I promise you're gonna go so much faster if you ask the right questions, like, is it okay for me to accept financial remuneration? I can never say that word. Remuneration. Is it okay for me to accept that from other organizations? Can I speak about being an employee here? How long do I need to be employed here before I can speak on behalf of the company? Can I use this logo at this industry event? Just ask those very specific questions and get documentation of those. Put them down, write down who and what role, who told you that you could do that from legal or from HR, because these things will come up again. They definitely kept coming up for me during my time at Meta thankfully, and I can't exactly talk about how we did what we did at Meta, but thankfully there were systems in place to where it was always clear whether or not I had permission to do every single speaking engagement that related to Instagram and that related to Meta. For my own company, there was a set of guidelines, right, as articulated by the company policy that I now had to draw up. And I had to even tell my team, AKA my executive assistant or my freelancers, hey, make sure when we do speaking engagements, we're not using the Instagram name, we're not using their logos. I had to come up with different creative titles and industry topics that didn't relate to my job so that those things were clear. Okay, next is to get good with your manager. Yeah, your manager. I don't know what your relationship with your manager is, but they need to be your cheerleader or at least, at the very least, briefed on this, okay? So if it's within your company guidelines that you can speak, that's all good and well. But if your manager isn't kind of protecting and defending you in this effort, you're gonna have a very tough time. The best way to make them a cheerleader or a defender of your work is to bring them in on it. So if you know that there's somewhere that you're speaking, you know there's some advocacy that you like, some sponsorship to industry stages, you know if it's gonna distract from your work, your manager wants to know about that. And then if you clue them in early, instead of going around the corners, they're more likely to be on your team. Don't try to do this without your manager, okay? You have a much easier time. I was very thankful at Instagram to have a manager who was incredibly supportive of me, to have multiple managers actually throughout my time who were very supportive of me, who understood what I was doing inside and outside the company and why, because I was super transparent with them. So that transparency then in turn made my life simpler, gave back to me, and they would help defend me to anybody else who was curious. Make a plan, okay? So define who you are and what you want to speak about or talk about. Define what the company does, what they want to speak about or talk about. Carve out finances. What do you need to invest in order to be a speaker or an advocate or a creative or a film producer or an Airbnb host? What's the financial investment you need to make? Is that covered by your salary? Do you need to get that money elsewhere? It really helps to make a general financial plan. For me, when I was working at Instagram and I started producing comedy, I was able to do so for free, right? I was just using a ring light and my phone and my time. So I didn't need to, before the brand deal started coming, before I hired an assistant, I didn't need to invest a lot of money into this, so it was easy for me to jumpstart. If you need to make a significant financial investment while you're working full time, that's something you should sit down and plan out. Next is to actually carve out the time that you're gonna do it. Instagram has a really flexible working schedule, right? So yes, you need to work 40 hours a week if you're working full time, but those 40 hours can kind of be completed anywhere. I talked about that in another video. It was one of the reasons why I stayed at the company for so long. So think about when you're going to get to execute this creativity of yours. Is it going to take a couple hours in the morning, in the afternoon, at night? Is this creativity happening in bursts? Are you gonna batch record your content or create your content? Do you need to take time off of work to do this? For me, I only had to take a couple days here and there for different auditions or recordings or creative opportunities, and it was not disruptive to my work at all. I made sure that was covered. But if you're someone who's, for example, an actor and you get hired on a gig that's like 2 weeks, does time for that exist within your company policy, right? You need to chat with your manager, just make sure that's clear. And for the love of my God in the sky, do not work on your creative side hustle on company time or on company surfaces or with company resources. This is gonna put you at risk. It will put you at a legal and HR risk. You could lose your job. So please, if you remember anything from this, it's that Joy is telling me I should get a different laptop. Joy is telling me I should get a different phone. Joy is telling me to buy my own camera. I don't care if work gives you a camera. Okay, you can ask them if you could use it, but good God. What happens is when you use company resources to do what you're trying to do as a creative in your job, the company can take anything that you produce, and this isn't, cut and dry. I'm not a lawyer, okay, so God, but the company can take what you produce for yourself and say, oh, well, they made that using company resources, so this belongs. I would hate for you to lose the intellectual property or even financial proceeds of what you've developed on your own time because you were using company hardware. And I would hate for you to lose it because what you did with company hardware, with company time and your own hardware, none of it can be company. You get me? Don't combine company time and your hardware. Don't combine company hardware and your time. Just make sure everything belongs to you that's yours for your company. Clear? Okay. In your plan, identify your people resources. So who do you need to get this creative thing done? Do you need designers? Do you need buyers? Do you need print and package and ship folks? Do you need executive assistants? Do you need video editors? Do you need your mama? Like, ask yourself, who are the people that are gonna help you get this done? Where can you meet them? And they really, if you can avoid it, baby, they shouldn't be inside your company. They shouldn't be inside your 9 to 5. I hired people who did not work at Meta, for the most part, because if you start hiring people who work at Meta, again, for your company, you're getting in nasty waters. Now, is it a company project? I don't want you to have to deal with that. Get an executive assistant. If you are in a place with your creativity where it's burgeoning, you're getting tens of emails a day or a week, you're getting financial opportunities and you need somebody to negotiate on your behalf or just handle the money with you, it helps to have an executive assistant. I hired mine from Upwork. I set up criteria. If you want to know what my job description was for my assistant, you absolutely can comment below or hit me up and I will give it to you. But my executive assistant right now, Donita Shaw, she is incredible. I had an assistant before that, Jessica. She was also awesome. Getting people who can get in the weeds of your business for you so that you can be up-leveled and even focus on your 9 to 5 is essential. Use Upwork. Okay, so this is not sponsored by Upwork. Hopefully someday it will be because I freaking love them. But Upwork.com is a platform that I use. It's a creative services and even non-creative like financial or legal. It's a services marketplace for freelancers. So if you are somebody who's working 9 to 5 and you're like, ooh, I don't even know where I would begin to find, a photographer in New York, Upwork can answer that question. I don't know how I would get an email, newsletter, designer or a word page, landing page, word count, anything you need, almost, you can find on Upwork. Okay, excel at your job. While you're doing this, don't forget the job. I don't want to give you just tips for creative. To me, it's important that you're doing well. When I was at Instagram, the fact that I did such incredible work at Instagram is what protected my side hustle, right? Which has now become my main hustle. If you're slipping on your job, what's gonna happen is they're gonna go, why is she slipping, right? Why did he trip up in that meeting? Why did they seem unprepared? And they're gonna turn around, they're gonna go, oh, well, maybe it's because they're doing this on the side. Maybe we should tighten that up. Maybe we should discourage that. Okay, so people at your company may not say it out loud, but if you start slipping, they will begin looking into your side hustle. Hell, even if you're not slipping, they're gonna begin looking into your side hustle to be like, is this different? Is this legal? Is this compliant? How does this? So I don't want you to face that increased scrutiny. So just go ahead and do an excellent job if you have a 9 to 5. Don't give them any reason to question the authority or integrity that you have at your job. And don't give them any reason to question the artistry and the integrity of what you've set up for yourself and your company. When you separate these two things, it protects them. And when you do an excellent job, it protects you. Keep documentation, make copies and templates. So anything you're doing as a creative, just like at your job, needs documentation. Treat yourself like a company. I cannot begin to describe to you. I began reaching 30,000 people on Instagram when I had about 6,000 followers. Now I reach 1 to 2 million people with 114,000 followers. This growth and this 150% revenue growth from 2021 to 2022, it happened because I began treating myself like a business. I began treating my business like I would treat Instagrams. I would, put in creative campaign briefs, hire people with formal job descriptions, treat yourself like a business, and documentation is important. I have so many pitch decks, so many, and some of them come from templates, right? Use one pitch deck to inspire the other. Don't iterate into the same document, dummy. Sometimes you're gonna wanna go back and be like, ooh, what did I say to Nickelodeon? Oh, what did I ask YouTube? Right? And you want that to be specific. You want it to be time bound. Oh, and when I do that, when I have separate copies of my pitch decks and of my documents, it lets me see, dang, that's crazy. When I approached this showrunner, my follower count was at this and I was asking for this much investment. But now here in 2022, my follower count is this, what? And I'm asking for this much investment. So it's another way for you to be able to see your growth, document how many followers you had at a time. There are services you can use for this, like Captivate, that might track, that's Captivate with an 8. They might track your follower growth over time. Even Instagram to some degree, TikTok lets you do this too. You can track your growth over time, but there are metrics that will be lost because the apps are not really designed to hold your whole history. So sometimes you can look at the past 90 days and not the last year. So make sure that you're taking your own notes, and even in your pitch decks, when you have your metrics, just preserve them as they were, okay? So that you have a history for yourself. Hire a financial planner, hire a CPA. Okay, so these two different entities. One, for me, financial planning is, I work with Haley at Northwestern Mutual. She's freaking incredible. I will give you her contact information if you are very serious about financial planning. If you're a full-time creative, or you're a full-time, 9-to-5er, and you've got a creative business, like, Haley has really helped me scope out what is it that I hope to earn, how do I want to apply that towards retirement, make a retirement plan or a financial freedom formula, she calls it. For me, this is very important because I don't like to be in my money. I don't even know how to say it. I don't want to be in my money day to day. Okay, we good? There was a little low battery situation. I don't like to be a day trader. I don't want to be focused on my money day to day. And somebody like Haley, a financial planner, was like, okay, cool. What age do you want to retire? What are you earning from Meta? How much value do you have in your stock? How much is in your 401k? Here's how we're going to invest that aggressively. Here's how we're going to invest that moderately. Let's buy life insurance. Let's buy disability insurance, and help me make that entire plan. Okay, so this is important for me now that I have a business. It will literally stress me out and take me away from the creativity if I have to figure out how these different things are going to be invested. So as I have financial goals and I make investment moves, or Haley's making these moves on my behalf, she and I are in partnership, a financial planner. You can get financial planning from so many different places. But again, if you want to consider Haley, who has helped me make 3 really key investments in my life, then please hit me up. Next would be like a certified tax professional. Okay, creative taxes are not like your W-2 taxes, okay? These W-9s and these 1099s are not the same as your W-2s, okay? I'm real icky on government forms. I do them, I'm compliant, but I'm so icky about that whole process. I've hired this firm. I'm still waiting to see how our relationship kind of goes. So I don't want to like just put their name out there, but so far they're available 24/7 for me to ask any questions about taxes. I give them my Facebook W-2s, and they manage my payroll for all of my freelancers and creatives within my business. So it's one joint service. It costs a ton, but so far it's been worth it. I just need to see how this relationship goes before I begin referring you to them. I'm very protective of you. That's one thing. I'm not gonna give you something I don't use myself, and I'm not gonna gatekeep anything from you, because I would never do that to you. I'm not gonna gatekeep anything, but I do want to make sure that it's worth it and that it's safe before I recommend it to you. So financial planning, and then tax preparation and payroll management. Make sure that you have those 2 separate services, okay? If you're paying anybody, I think it can be over $350, $400. Don't quote me on that. But if you are paying your freelancers a couple $100, that's a potential tax write-off. Okay, so don't just be giving people money willy-nilly. Get a professional to look at how you are paying people in your creative business. The final thing I want to tell you is don't do it alone, okay? Everything that you're doing, I recommend shouting it to your network. I know that sometimes, especially in Black and brown cultures, we get very nervous about telling people what we're doing as we're doing it, or before it's done. We think they're gonna hex it, vex it, voodoo it, speak it out of existence, unmanifest it. Look, I'll tell you from my own personal space, nobody can undo what my God has done for me or has planned for me. Oh, hey, friend. Yeah, come on. My friend's here and very much does not want to be in the video, so I'm going to just block her as we wrap it up. There we go. I protect you with my head as she runs. I love that. But you see, she's a friend and she supports me. So do not do this thing alone. You need the support of your friends, of your family, of your managers, of your creative freelancers. And I think it really will benefit you to let people know what's cooking as it's cooking, so that they can invest in you, they can protect you, they can help you, they can defend you, they can advocate for you in the rooms that you are not in. And nobody can do that for you if you stay quiet, okay? So share this and shout it everywhere. I hope that this was helpful. If you really like this series about leaving Instagram, you like the series about balancing full-time creative with being a full-time professional, then subscribe. You can like and subscribe. I'm on youtube.com/JoyOfodu, Instagram JoyOfodu, LinkedIn JoyOfodu, basically everything. JoyOfodu, you get it, you're getting it. This is awesome, we're in community. Okay, share this to somebody who you think is creative, who's in a 9-to-5. Share this with somebody who is creative, doesn't have a 9-to-5, but looks like they could need it to survive this recession. Whatever you think, Whoever you think this could be beneficial for, just go ahead and you're getting it, share it. Okay, we're here. We're in this thing together. All right, good luck. Bye.